Hey everybody, welcome back. As you can see, I've changed up and added to my costume a little bit. Not really changed up, but got new pants. I think they look a lot better than the other pants that I had. I got a pocket handkerchief, and just a hint for anybody who's looking to get one. Don't go to any of the, main stores to get it, because you'll probably pay an arm and a leg for it. Just go to a fabric store and get a small piece of cloth cut off for it. That's what I did, and I shaped it, and it cost me like $1.18, so that's the cheapest way you'll get it. But, of course, this is the review for the newest episode of Bates Motel, Caleb. And, of course, that's because Norma's brother is named Caleb. And I didn't think this episode was quite as good as the last two. The last two have been so spectacular and in your face that it was really hard to top that, or to even match it. And while this episode wasn't as good, I still really enjoyed it. It was a little slower paced. Not as much happened in it, but enough still happened in it to keep it interesting. A lot of this episode was really building up and introducing new relationships and new characters. And I think now that that base is set, this was a base-setting episode for those relationships and such, that it's really going to be able to take off from here. And next episode from the previews looks really damn good. So, when we first open up, we start to see that Caleb is coming to town, and that we saw in the last episode that he was coming into town, and that he is Norma's brother. We found out his name is Caleb in this episode. Now, we have heard from Norma that he used to rape her when they were younger. Now, I have a theory about all the different stories we're hearing, and I'm going to share that at the end of the episode. So, there is already a whole lot of tension there. Norma does not want to see Caleb at all. That leads to some tension. But, one thing I'm actually really glad about, and it's not to disrespect the actress or the character, but I'm glad that Bradley is away for now, because that really lets us focus on other things. Now, there's this new Coe character, and I'll get into her when I get into her later in the review, but, we'll see. I'm glad that Bradley's away for now, and if she comes back later, that's great, that's awesome, bring her back. But keep her away for now. She wasn't the character I disliked as much as what she did and how she was kind of using Norman at times, even if she came through at the end. And, that she did her character well for that, but that whole character is gone. And I'm glad about that. Like, again, no disrespect to the actress or the character, but I'm glad she's gone, like I said. So, the paper says, because Norman's sitting there, he's eating his cereal, Emma walks in, and we get to see a lot more of Emma in this episode, and that comes with good and bad, and I'll get to that, but, she shows him the paper, and she's really sympathetic to him. She's really trying to console and comfort him. And I thought that was really well done, and that is really how Emma is, because for the most part, she's a really nice person. And I think she's probably still upset with Norman, understandably so, but when something this big happens, something that's tragic, even though, of course, she's not really dead. But Emma doesn't know that. Norman does. Emma doesn't. But since she, of course, believes that she's dead, and she knew that Norman and Bradley were close, she's really trying to comfort and be nice to him. Still upset with him, but she's really showing her nice and caring side there. And I have the biggest TV crush on Olivia Cooke right now. I think she's totally gorgeous. I love her character as Emma, but at the same time, I like how they did that. I don't think it'd be the same if, Norman, he stubbed his toe or something like that. She wouldn't give a fuck about that. She'd probably tell him to man up and get over it or something. Because she still is upset. And a lot of her downfall, in a way, comes up later in the episode. So, Norma finds out that she didn't get the part. And this leads to one of the relationships that's going to start up. And I don't know if it ever said the lady's name that was like the director of the play or whatever. But she's upset about it. She's upset about Norma not getting the part. And she befriends Norma. But this is something I'm really super suspicious about. Because of the town that it's in. And I'll jump ahead a little bit at this point, but she gets really friendly. She's trying to comfort Norma, trying to side with her on things, and she invites her to a dinner party, or a garden party, or whatever. Same thing, pretty much, from what I can see from the party. And she ends up living in this big, fancy, expensive-ass house. Sorry, I got a cold. And it's kind of, wailing on me right now, so forgive me for that. And I just don't see someone like that making a lot of money. If she was involved in big plays in like New York City or something big like that, I could see her making a lot of money there, but not in a small town like White Pine Bay. And the sudden really friendliness, I'm going to show you around to lots of people. And of course the guy that she introduces Norma to, and there starts to be kind of a relationship there, and they are still maybe, but she was definitely trying to hook Norma and him up. And of course, at first it didn't work out. Norma's not ready for it, but I have so much suspicion about that. It's way too friendly for this town. And I'm really hoping that leads to something. Because in the previews, we saw the director lady, and that's what I'm calling her until I find her name out, says something like, I know about you, Norma, or I know what you did, or I know something about you, Norma. Next episode, like I said, is going to be really awesome. There's going to be something happening with that. But, like I said, I'm really looking forward to see what that's going to bring. Because I think it could be a good friendship, because a lot of their personalities match. But still just really suspicious about that. There's something not right there. We'll see what that happens with that. So, another thing that I thought was going to be really, distraught and have a lot of tension between the two characters at first was with Caleb and Dylan. At first I thought, he's not going to let her anywhere around Norma, and they're going to have a fight. It's going to end up really badly, and it still might. And at first, I think Dylan was a little bit more on Norma's side, even though near the end. In the middle, he was kind of on both, and near the end, he was more on Caleb's side. But they're becoming friends. And I'm going to jump ahead again while I'm talking about this. And we later see, as they're becoming more friends, that Caleb he starts talking about his parents, which would of course be Norma and his parents, and how they acted, how his mother was very distant and depressed, maybe bipolar. His father lost his job and started drinking and sitting around. And then he started springing the whole, my friends have this hotel and then they want to sell it to me. And I'm really thinking that he was trying to scam Dylan into giving him money and feeling sorry for him, and it worked. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe he is a good guy, but again, I really doubt it. And that would just be stupid, in my opinion, if he's starting to turn out to be a good guy, because of all the things that he supposedly did in the past. And he's really sketchy, too. Because when he approached Dylan on the street, he was kind of taken back, kind of shy-ish. Sketchy, just wanted to get the point out at first about wanting to hang out and go fishing. He kind of built up slowly to it. And that set me off. I was already set off about him, but that set me off even more. And I really think that that's going to be another problem. And like I said, this episode was to build up their relationships. And now that they'll build up, shit can happen. A whole bunch of shit can happen. So Caleb, I am really suspecting him. I'm really suspecting the director. And so that's going to be a big thing. And with Caleb, Norma, there's definitely something there. She threw him out of the hotel. And again, I'll get to my theory on each of the stories at the end of this review. So, let's talk a bit about Zane. Because after this, I need to get into Emma and Cody and all of that stuff that's going to blow up soon. Or at least it's going to blow up at some time, even if it's not soon. It's definitely heading to something bad. But Zane is still fucked up. He's still, sloppy. He's not meant to run the business. He's too insane because, Dylan and his partner come up and find the guards dead. And they believe it's the rival family's retaliation for the guy that Zane killed. And Zane comes in, he's like, if they think that one of their guys is worth 2 of our guys, then it may be worth 10 or 12 of those guys, of their guys. And I just think that he is mentally fucked up. I think that part of him, it is for retaliation, and it is for revenge, but I think another thing is it's just an excuse for bloodshed. He just wants bloodshed. He just wants mayhem. He just wants chaos. And that's still building up to something, leading to something bad, and I'm still wondering if he is going to get killed by Dylan or his partner. Or at least he's going to get killed by somebody, and, there's going to be a whole war starting between the two families, and that's going to get fucked up. And I'm liking how the story is doing that. It's not just focusing on, this is Norman Bates, this is Nora Bates, this is what led up to Psycho, this is their story. There are so many subplots and sub-stories, and a lot of shows can get that wrong or screw it up. Twin Peaks in the second season had a lot of subplots that really didn't go anywhere, and a lot of people, including myself, thought they were sloppily done. Still a great show, but I'm just using that as an example. So, now, we found out that the cashier from last episode is named Cody, and she is now a character in the show. And I actually was supposed to mention that in my last review, that I suspected that she might be. And of course it turns out she is, she definitely has some kind of interest in Norman. Whether it be romantic, whether it be she's just trying to get with him, or what. But there's definitely something there. And she has, at first we think she's dating that Philip guy, but turns out he's gay. Because he's trying to, put his hand on Norman's leg. And we found out that he isn't her boyfriend. She was just making out with him for fun. And the thing is, I'm really iffy about her character. No, she's young, she's dumb, she's just going out trying to be rebellious, And Cody is just such a common name for that type of character. I wish they had named her something else. But there were some things I do like about her. The way that she hugged Norman when she found out that him and Bradley were close. And in a way, I kind of liked when Norman walked her home and she was kind of nice to him. But then again, I think she's just trying to do something with him. She's trying to use him in some way. And I really think she's Bradley #2 with more of a rebellious, punky attitude. And while Bradley had some of that, this girl is way more than that. And I really think she's just, like I just said, Bradley with a punky attitude. So, I think that's going to lead somewhere. So many relationships leading somewhere. But I've got to talk at least about one more, and that's Emma. Emma's character is, she is falling down this pit of despair, you know. She admits that the whole memorial thing was just to make herself feel better, because she still doesn't like Bradley, even though she thinks, of course, that Bradley's dead. Bradley's not dead, but everybody thinks it is. She is, so she feels bad about herself. And she starts going towards that guy, and he was the guy that gave her the cupcake in the first episode that had the pot in them. And I think she's just using him as an outlet to get her angers and her frustrations out of her, because she doesn't know how to deal with what she's dealing with. And, you know, she says, you know, make bad decisions with me. She's getting way too close to this guy. And I'm wondering why this is. I think it's, part of it is definitely that she feels, like she said, she feels bad. You know, she feels like she's a bad person. And she doesn't know how to deal with that. But I also think it has to do with Cody. Because there is a definite thing going on between Cody and Norman. He's at least somewhat interested in her, like she's using him or whatever, like I said. But it's plain to see, I think Emma saw that, and that adds more attention. That's just building up on her plate, and she is going down. I hope that it doesn't lead to her death, because like I said, I freaking love Emma. Emma is one of my favorite characters. She is so damn awesome. And I would like to see her go darker. I hope it doesn't lead to her getting killed or something too bad happening to her. Maybe something bad enough to be like, you know, shit, I need to turn this around and I need to get back to my usual self. That would be great. But, so, let's see. 2 more things I really need to discuss. And I'm really getting this discussion. This is great. Now that I'm talking about it, I really enjoy the episode more, for at the very least of what it's going to build up to. So, as Norma leaves the party, of course, you know, like I said, the guy comes up, and he's trying to get with her, and it's apparent that the director lady was trying to set them up. And it doesn't happen, but as she's leaving the party, she's approached by what I thought was a security guard at first, the way he was standing there. But he starts talking about, he knows who she is, and he knows what she did at the council meeting about the bypass, and he's against the bypass too. But you've got to agree with the other kids on the playground in this town. You know, basically saying you have to go with the flow. But that was Nick, because he gave her his business card, and he's really sketchy. He's definitely into some stuff. We already know that. But now that he's been introduced to Norma, and he definitely deliberately was there to talk to her. And maybe that was part of the director lady was doing. Like I said, I don't trust her at all. But that's going to lead to some stuff, because he's against the bypass. And I'm having one of them that has something to do with the drug trade, and we'll see what goes on with that. But the end of the episode was kind of a big shocker. I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. We found out, okay, no, I'm going to tell you really straight up, but, you know, Dylan is trying to help Norma and Caleb at the same time. You know, he's trying to get them, you know, to resolve their differences. I still think that Caleb is using him. But this leads to a big argument between Norma and Dylan. And I think that both stories are correct. I think that when Caleb was talking about his parents and Norma's parents, I think that was a really bad situation. I think that's true. But I also think that he really did rape Norma. And I think both sides are true, but they're both trying to play, this is the only side to it, side with me. You know, the other guy's a bad guy. And I still think, you know, he is a bad guy. Caleb is a bad guy. But I think they're both right. I think they're both true. But they're really trying to play sides. So Norman comes in and they're arguing, and you know that's going to lead to something. And it does. And one of the things that's so awesome about Freddie Highmore, because I recently changed my Facebook picture, my main Facebook picture, to him, you know, that creepy smile that he does. But he does so well with the original actor who did it. You see what I mean? It's so awesome. Just so well, and I think that's great. But, you know, he comes in and he starts fighting with Dylan. He actually starts to win. He's beating the crap out of Dylan, smashing his face on the floor, or punching his face on the floor. And then Norma just out of the blue says he can't help it. It's his father. Caleb is Dylan's father. Woo, boy. Is that going to lead to something? And like I said, I shouldn't have known that. You know, I'm sure other people were calling it. It was kind of, okay, duh, you should have seen that. But so much happened in this episode that, like I said, it's going to lead to so much more. They got the base down, now they can expand on it. So I'm super excited about next week's episode. I hate that they push it to 10 o'clock. That's stupid. Because I may not be able to see the recording because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes on at 10 o'clock that's being recorded. So I'll have to figure out a way to get around that. But can't wait till next episode. It's going to be awesome. This series is just getting better and better and better. It's going to add more attention. And I really think if it continues this way, we're going to get a third season. And I hope they do. As long as it doesn't start to suck. But I don't see that happening. So until then, peace out.